evening, everybody. Welcome to NASR, Monday, February 9th, here in Connecticut on the East Coast. So, congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl champions as they dominated Super Bowl 60 29-13 over the New England Patriots. And it didn't even seem like it was that close, because it wasn't. It was a domination the whole way through. As some of you heard in my short earlier today, I basically laid out how, my take on the game was wrong. When I came on here pre-game, I honestly thought that the game was going to be competitive. I thought that the Patriots were going to have, I picked the Patriots plus 4.5 to cover. I also had them in a teaser, both losers. I did have the Seahawks in the money line, and I did tell you I thought the Seahawks would ultimately win. I didn't think they would cover the main spread. I also had the Seahawks in a teaser. I gave all 4 of those bets out here, finishing yesterday 2-2, and wrapped up the season dead even at 87-1. Didn't have a winning season in the pros, but I did finish dead 500 at 87-1. I really thought the Patriots were going to make that a competitive game. I had them in a teaser plus 10.5 and under 51.5. I love that play. I even love the Patriots plus 4.5, but I did tell you, I basically guaranteed the money line. I still told you that I thought the Seahawks would win 27-24, 24-20, 24-23. I was pretty much sure of it, and I even risked $238 to win 100 at that rate, and that was a winner. As was, I had the Seahawks and under 51.5 in the teaser as well, a 2-teamer. Those were my 2 wins, but I honestly really was feeling good. I thought I was going to go at least 3-1 or 4-0, and if the Patriots had kept that game competitive, I would have ran the board. Now, the bottom line is, you heard my take on the game pre-game on Sunday. I said I thought that the Patriots, I thought that Coach Mike Vrabel with 2 weeks to prepare, hearing how they had no chance to win and they were the heavy underdog all week, I thought for sure that would fire them up and they would come rough and ready. And I know that Drake May had some struggles in the playoffs, but I also thought that he had a bounce-back ability, always able to make plays when needed and able to shrug off his mistakes. And I thought going into his 4th playoff game, in his first playoff run, that he would get better and better as the playoffs went along. That was not the case. He played his worst game in the Super Bowl. I was wrong about that. I had faith in Vrabel getting these guys ready. And the defense was ready. The defense kept him in the game for a while. I mean, it was 12-0 into the third quarter. It was, the game was still in play, but it was really a domination. You never thought that the Patriots had a chance. You thought that Seattle was in control the whole way, and they were. Their defense balled out. They sacked Drake May 6 times. They had a fumble, a scoop and score for a touchdown. They picked him off twice. They recovered 2 fumbles, 4 turnovers. Drake May was in over his skis. He was in over his skis. The game was too big for him. I'll tell you another Patriot who the game was too big for was their tackle, Will Campbell. It was too big for him. They were dominated by the Seahawks defense. The offense of the Patriots was not ready for this moment. They looked like a team that was fortunate to get there, I have to admit. May with 4 turnovers. I know he finished with 295 yards passing and 2 touchdowns, but the majority of that was garbage statistics in the 4th quarter, as when it mattered, he got handled. He got roughed up. He looked like a deer in the headlights. Granted, they brought the heat, and granted, the offensive line of the Patriots played poorly, but Drake May was missing, was missing guys, missing open receivers. Like I said, the moment looked too big for him. And he played an awful game. And that's why they lost. Now, that being said, it's not all Armageddon for the Patriots. I mean, the franchise just played in its 12th Super Bowl. It has a 23-year-old quarterback, a great coach, and the structure is there. Everybody kind of thought the Patriots were a year ahead of schedule, that they need another good draft to fortify the lineup. They have holes on the offensive line. They could use another big playmaker on offense, preferably a receiver on the outside. They could use a pass rusher, an end. The Patriots are literally about 4 or 5. They were another draft away, maybe another draft and free agency signing period away of being the serious contender. So they were a year ahead of schedule. Now you hope this poor playoff run by Drake May and some of the lackluster performances don't have a hangover effect on Drake or his career. I would think you're okay with Drake May at QB. I would think you're in good shape. I would think the Patriot franchise is in good shape. The Patriots now 6-6 in their 12 Super Bowl appearances. I know a lot of the Pats haters like to blurt out how they have the most Super Bowl losses in history now with 6, but they're also tied with the Steelers for the most Super Bowl victories with 6. When you go to a lot of Super Bowls, you're going to lose a few of them. The Patriots' 12 Super Bowl appearance. Their 12 Super Bowl appearances basically account for 20% of all 60 Super Bowls. So come on. Now the Seahawks won their second World Championship in 4 appearances. Congratulations to Kenneth Walker, the MVP, who rushed for 135 yards. Congratulations to Sam Darnold, who his career has completely changed trajectory now as being the guy that couldn't win the big one. We couldn't win the big games or always wilted in the big moments. He is now a Super Bowl champion quarterback. Drake May, who drafted by the Jets, showed some promise early, but after 3 rough years was discarded to the bench. Then he was sent to Carolina, and then he was discarded to the bench by Carolina. Then he went to the San Francisco 49ers and, was a backup quarterback where he did say he learned a lot. But, he couldn't supplant Brock Purdy, who was a 7th-round draft pick. Then, goes off to the Vikings, has a stellar year, and they give up on him. And, he found the perfect place, the perfect fit, had another great regular season, and this time he proved that he can win the big games. He can take teams through the playoffs. We're going to take a look at some of these statistics here. Boy, oh boy. We're going to get to the halftime madness, too, in a moment. I've seen a lot of the behavior on social media by a lot of us out there, and it's deplorable. Americans, we need to do better. We need to do better. We'll get to that in a moment. I want to stick with the football. I hope you guys did have an enjoyable Super Bowl Sunday with friends and family and food and drinks and fun. Again, we wrapped up our wagering season 87-1, going 2-2 yesterday with the 4 plays we gave you on the show. We did finish 39-29-2 in college, hit at over 60%. We had a great college season. So overall, if you combine our football, college, and pro, we finished with 126 wins, 126 wins, 116 losses, and 3 pushes. 126, 116, and 3 was our college and pro combination for the season in plays we gave out here on the show as we endorsed DraftKings and FanDuel and responsible wagering. 126, 116-3. 10 games over 500 in our football picks for the season. I hope you guys had fun rolling through the college and pro seasons with me. We had a great time giving you the wagering info and the analysis, and hopefully you made a little more than you lost. We did. Now, we were a lot better. We were pretty much, like I said, we hit it just over 60% in college, a very good year. Mediocre in the pros, but not a disaster. 87-1, and that wraps up the NFL season. We are going to do some NHL wagering. I'm going to be giving out some more plays. I'll be giving out some college basketball, some NHL, and believe it or not, football's not completely over because we will discuss the United Football League, the Spring League, which is coming back again. Now, the United Football League is entering its third season, but it's really like the sixth season because you had 2 years of the XFL and 2 years of the UFL. The United States Football League, the USFL and the XFL were two separate entities. They had 2 years separately before they merged together, and now they've had 2 years since the merge. So spring football has survived 4 years. It's going into year 5, and we will cover the UFL, believe it or not. Football's football. We're even going to give you some Canadian football when that starts June 30th at the end of June. Canada Day weekend. We will cover the Canadian Football League this year, and we will cover the United Football League, which will take you right till NFL training camp. But we're going to do a lot of NHL. We're going to do a Wednesday night. We're going to be on at 6 o'clock, and we're going to do a full Olympic preview going over all the NHL players that are on all the teams in the Olympics, representing all their countries. We're going to go through all the rosters. That'll be 6 p.m. on Wednesday this week. The United States starts Thursday at 3:10 p.m. against Latvia. I'm really looking forward to the Olympic hockey. I love hockey. I think it's going to be great. We'll get you up to date on where the NHL standings are and where they sit at the break. And like I said, we're going to have fun with the Olympics. We're going to go over all the hockey and all the rosters of all the countries before they kick off. So that'll be Wednesday night at 6 p.m. I am going to give you some hockey wagers. So we're going to stick with the gambling fun. I'm going to give you some hockey wagers this season as the NHL continues through now that the football is over for now. So anyway, that's where we'll sit. Wednesday at 6, we're going to do a hockey show. And again, I will eventually get to some NBA, but I'll probably do a little more college hoops than NBA. I've been very transparent about how I'm not a big fan of NBA play. To me, it's not the game that I grew up watching, and it's not even the game of 10, 15 years ago. It's a game with no defense, nothing but end-to-end slam dunks and a zillion three-point shot attempts and no defense. Games that used to be, 107 to 103 or 99 to 97 or 99 to 95 or now 139 to 117, 146 to 122. I look at these NBA scores and then no one plays any defense. But we will touch on some of it. But yeah, that's my least favorite of all the major sports right now, the NBA. And it didn't used to be that way. I love the college game. The college players, they use more sets. They play defense. They run set plays. They play good half-court defense. It seems like a more fundamental game. So we're going to do some of that. But anyway, to the Super Bowl. Sam Darnold, not a stellar game, but Sam did what he needed to do and what Drake May didn't do. No turnovers. No mistakes. Listen, Sam missed Rashid Shaheed on a deep ball that could have been a touchdown. He also missed a throw to the tight end in the right flat that if he caught it, he probably would have went right up the right sidelines for a touchdown. Sam missed some big plays, but he didn't make any boneheaded plays. Early in the game, Sam was tight. He made a couple of short throws where one of them was almost picked. There were a couple of balls he threw into harm's way that one was nearly picked. He made a couple of bad throws early in the game. They didn't cost him. Then he settled down and he made zero mistakes, no turnovers, no picks, no fumbles. Played a clean game, 19 of 38, only 50% completion, but 202 yards, one touchdown pass, and no picks. Again, no turnovers, no mistakes. Sam played a clean game, and that's all he had to do. That's all he had to do. Cooper Kupp, 6 catches for 61 yards, was actually the high man at receiver. A.J. Barner caught the 1 touchdown, 4 receptions for 54 yards, and again, he caught Sam's only touchdown. Shaheed, 2 for 27. Jackson Smith-Njigba, the best receiver on the field, only 2 catches for 27 yards. He did get dinged up in the game. He had Gonzalez on him a lot, and he's a fine corner for the Patriots. And he did get dinged up, actually leaving the game temporarily to get checked out in the concussion protocol, but did return. Kenneth Walker also added 2 catches for 26 yards to go with his 27 carries for 135 yards. So Kenneth Walker, the MVP, 27 carries for 135 and 2 catches for 26 yards. No touchdowns though. No touchdowns for the MVP. The only offensive touchdown was A.J. Barner's reception from Sam Darnold. And then they kicked 5 field goals. I mean, that was it. That was it. I mean, you could have made an argument for Jason Myers. Jason Myers, 5 for 5 with the field goals, 15 points. Then the touchdown pass from Darnold. The touchdown pass that Darnold threw, the 5 field goals, the touchdown pass to Barner, and the 5 field goals were the whole 22 points the Seahawks offense scored. They actually, of course, they had the scoop and score fumble for the touchdown, and that was Derek Hall. And, the Seahawks defense had a great game. They just played great. Ernest Jones, 10 tackles. He was all over the place. Josh Jobe, he had 6 tackles. Devon Witherspoon, 4 tackles and a sack from the secondary. Evan Worry had 4 tackles. Woolen had 4 tackles. A lot of the DBs, Kobe Bryant, 3 tackles. They were very, very active. Very active. One of the stars of the game, Byron Murphy, had 2 sacks on the game, was a pivotal player in the game, as was Derek Hall. 2 sacks in the game. So Thomas and Murphy, 2 sacks, the D lineman. I mean, those were probably the defensive stars of the game for the Seahawks. Linebacker Drake Thomas, their front 7 was off the hook. Linebacker Drake Thomas also had 2 tackles. But Hall and Murphy from the D-line, Hall and Murphy had 2 sacks each. And again, Derek Hall also had the fumble recovery, which he returned all the way for the touchdown. Let's see here. What else sticks out at me here? Who got the picks? The picks. All right, so the interceptions. Julian Love had a pick for the Seahawks, and the other pick was Uchenna Nwosu. He had the other interception, the linebacker. So those were the 2 Drake May picks. We know Drake May had the 2 fumbles. Again, one was just, ripped right out of his hands and returned for the touchdown. That was just a disaster. That was just a disaster for Drake May. He was under duress all game. Again, the defensive stars for the Seahawks. Jones with the 10 tackles. Jobe with the 6 tackles. Weatherspoon with the 4 tackles from the secondary and a sack. And then you had Murphy and Hall had 2 sacks apiece. And the 6th sack came by Riley Mills. Again, defensive tackle. The defensive linemen, they ate. Congratulations to former Dallas Cowboy DeMarcus Lawrence. He also had a bunch of quarterback hits. Cost one of the fumbles. He was he was in the backfield. He had 2 hits on the quarterback in the game and a few pressures and made his presence felt. DeMarcus Lawrence, he had said when he left Dallas that he would, the only chance he had of ever being anywhere near the Super Bowl was to get out of Dallas. And when he said that in his presser after he was signed by the Seahawks, it angered a lot of the Dallas Cowboy faithful and some of his former teammates, including Micah Parsons. But boy, how prophetic was DeMarcus Lawrence. He said, quote unquote, well, I would have never gotten near the Super Bowl had I stayed in Dallas. He was right. So therein lies the dominant defensive performance by the Seahawks. Again, Kenneth Walker, the MVP. Darnold didn't have to play a stellar game. He plays a clean game. Drake May for the Patriots, 27 of 43, 296 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles, 4 turnovers altogether. He also ran for 37 yards on 5 carries. Look, you look at it, Drake May had 295 passing and 37 yards rushing. Those are very misleading. Most of those statistics came in garbage time. He had an awful game. He was just terrible. I can't emphasize that enough. In the first half, he did nothing. They were shut out for 2.5 quarters. At one point, they had more punts than actual completions. 8 punts to 7 completions. Wasn't all his fault, though. Drake May, here is a statistic for you. Here's a statistic of the day. Drake May was sacked in 4 playoff games that the Patriots played. Drake May was sacked 21 times. 21 times. That, my friends, is an NFL record. An NFL record. 21 sacks of Drake May in 4 playoff games. That's a nightmare. They got to get that offensive line fixed up. An extra weapon on the outside and some offensive line repair and a defensive rush end to help that Patriot defense, which is stout and did play well. That is the off-season shopping list for the Patriots to get right back into this, right back into the championship conversation again next year. Okay, some other statistics for the Patriots. So 27 of 43, 295, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 2 lost fumbles. Also 5 carries for 37 yards for May. Ramondre Stevenson only 7 for 23, and Henderson 6 for 19. Literally, they only combined for 42 yards rushing. And again, the problem for the Patriots, they only rushed the ball for 79 yards. No balance in their offense. Well, they didn't really have much of an offense for nearly 3 quarters. So that didn't help that they couldn't run the ball. Mac Hollins was the high man at receiver, 4 catches for 78 yards and a touchdown. Demario Douglas, 5 for 45, not terrible. Ramondre Stevenson had the other touchdown reception, 5 catches for 40 yards. Stephon Diggs, a quiet 3 for 37, as Hunter Henry, the tight end, also 3 catches for 31 yards. Travion Henderson, 3 for 26. Butte, only 1 catch for 21 yards, as the Patriot weapons were kept quiet. On defense for the Patriots. Listen, they played a solid game. They really did. They kept the Patriots in the game for a while. Now, they didn't really generate a lot of pressure on Darnold. They only had 1 quarterback sack, and that was by former Super Bowl champion of Milton Williams, who was one of the great stories for the Patriots at tackle. They were able to sign him as a free agent, as he had won a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles. They were able to get him from Philly, and he played a very solid game. He had their only sack. Again, Marcus Jones had 7 tackles from the secondary for the Patriots. Craig Woodson also had 7 tackles. I thought Christian Gonzalez had a great game in coverage, 4 tackles for him. That's pretty much it. There wasn't a lot of big plays because there was no turnovers, only 1 sack by the Patriots defense, but they did keep the Patriots in the game till, 2.5 quarters in. It's still only 12-0. You're only like 1 play away from, saying, hey, we're back in this thing. Now, I will say this. After Drake May throws the touchdown pass to Hollins, the Patriot defense comes out and gets a stop and actually gets the ball back 19-7. Now, we're in the 4th quarter at this point. There's about, 10 minutes to go in the game. Might have been a little less than 10 minutes to go in the game. But it's 19-7. You got the ball. You're 1 score away from making this a game and getting the Seahawks to start sweating. And then May throws a terrible pick. Just way off. I mean, the throw was horrible, way off the mark. Once he throws that interception, the return is good. It sets them up on the other side of the 50. The game is over. The interception return sets them up inside, sets the Seahawks up inside Patriot territory. And at that point, the game is pretty much over. So after that last pick that May threw at 19-7, that was really the last chance the Patriots had of making this a game. And of course, the Seahawks would have a touchdown called back, a Kenneth Walker touchdown run of significant one. It would have been around 40 yards, was called back because of a holding. And they had to settle for the field goal, making it 22-7. But now there was only like 7 minutes left in the game, and you're pretty much like, okay, this game is pretty much being controlled and is, nearing its end with the Seahawks firmly in control, 22-7. And then, of course, you had on the next series, you had the fumble, scoop, and score for the touchdown. And then, that's it. It's just a blowout. It's a blowout. Even then, I thought if the Patriots could get the ball, maybe somehow score quick, muster a score with a couple minutes left, maybe they can get to 20, within 22-14 or, But no, they give up a defensive touchdown, and that was it at 29-7. You could have turned your sets off there. The Patriots did get a garbage touchdown on the pass to Ramondre Stevenson. They went for 2 points. They failed, and the game ends 29-13. Congratulations, Coach Mike Macdonald, who did a fine job. This guy just came in 3 years ago. The Pete Carroll regime ends, and he's already got the Seahawks world champions. Listen, kudos to John Schneider, their general manager. They got a lot of these guys from the draft, and they got a lot of those picks with the Russell Wilson trade. Most of the Seahawks secondary, guys like Kobe Bryant and Love and Imanwari and Witherspoon, these are all draft picks. They really, Kenneth Walker and Jigba, the Seahawks really went to town on their draft. They really drafted well. Then they grabbed Shaheed from the Saints. They made all the right moves. They have an excellent team, and they should be excellent again next year. But you have to give credit to the organization. You went from one, iconic coach, and you changed the whole thing over in 3 years, and you're champions again. Listen, I know that they hadn't won a championship since 2013 season, January of 2014. I do believe that's correct. Let me just check that. Because I was at the Super Bowl when the Seahawks defeated the Denver Broncos in New York. I was there. And I had never seen a domination like that. I had never seen a domination like that. So obviously we know how the Seahawks with Matt Hasselbeck. They had lost the Super Bowl to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The '05 Steelers defeated them 21-10 in a game where the officials just were horrible in that game. The Seahawks were jobbed. The 2013 Seahawks, they were defeated. They crushed the Denver Broncos 43-8. And like I said, I never saw a team intimidated like the Seahawks intimidated the Broncos on that day. I mean, Wes Welker, he was afraid to go over the middle. He went over the middle, made a catch, got freaking drilled in his ear hole, and he was afraid to go over the middle the rest of the game. I remember Percy Harvin had a kick return for a touchdown in that game. Russell played great. Harvin was the MVP, and the Legion of Boom just brought the wood to Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos 43-8. That was February 2nd, 2014. So that was the 2013 season. So it's been 12 years. Of course, they went back the very next year going for the back-to-backs, and that was when Malcolm Butler had the interception from the 1.5-yard line, where they just should have handed the ball off to Marshawn Lynch, and they would have had back-to-back champions. They would have had back-to-back Super Bowl championships, but instead somebody got cute and decided to try to throw the ball because they saw a matchup in a package that they liked, and they completely screwed up. I actually heard Marshawn Lynch say in a Super Bowl presser this week that he thought Russell Wilson should have audibled out of the play when he saw that the Patriots the Patriots were actually expecting a pass, believe it or not. They had the package in for that, and people thought that Russell should have ignored the call and audibled out of it and just handed the damn ball to Lynch, and they would have won back-to-back titles. So the Seahawks had not been to the Super Bowl since 2015 February, the 14th season. So it had been 11 years since they'd been to the Super Bowl, but the Pete Carroll regime had only ended 3 years ago, and they've already turned the whole thing around and are champions again. So credit to the Seahawks ownership, general manager, head coach. Schneider and McDonald worked great together. Mike McDonald is very bright. You can't underrate the job he did. But also on the other side, Mike Vrabel, what a year. And same type of thing. The Patriots, they just won a Super Bowl 7 years ago, and they lose the iconic quarterback. They get rid of the iconic coach. This is the type of franchise rebuild that usually takes 10 years to find another quarterback to get yourself. It could take 10 to 15 years. Ask the Miami Dolphins how long they've been looking for a quarterback. I can name you a bunch of teams that are looking for iconic quarterbacks after losing their longtime guy. Not everybody is the Green Bay Packers that go from one to the next to the next. But I have to give the Patriots credit too. It's only been 7 years, and literally 3 years ago, the entire thing fell to the ground. 2 straight 3-14, 4-13 seasons. Okay? And right back into the Super Bowl. Credit to Robert Kraft and that organization. They quickly rebuilt things and have things, in the right direction on top of the pack again. And that's just got to burn other franchises who just can't, it just seemed to take forever to get things right. But football is about quality structure in the organization. It starts from ownership, and then it's the head coach quarterback combination. So on the field, your head coach QB combination is key to success. And that is obtained by good ownership and a GM. Good ownership and the general manager working together. Ownership GM combo, head coach QB combo. One creates the other. That is how all the best organizations thrive. Patriots, Seahawks, Packers. I could go on and on. The Ravens for years. You always had great ownership with the Modells. You had Ozzie Newsome as the general manager, and you had great coaches like Billick, and then right to Harbaugh. And for a while there, you had the Harbaugh Flacco, and then you had Harbaugh. Listen, they also won a Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer. Brian Billick was a pretty freaking swift coach and an offensive genius, but they had the 2000 Raven defense, the best. There are 3 defenses in history that go down as the best of all time. The Steeler defense of the 70s, the Steel Curtain, the 2000 Ravens, and the 85 Bears. Take your pick. One of those 3 teams, one of those 3 defenses are the greatest of all time. But most of the time, it's the ownership, the GM. What type of head coach quarterback combination have they given you? Landry Staubach. Okay? Noel Bradshaw. Walsh Montana. Brady Belichick. You see where I'm going with this? I mean, Seifert Young. Yeah, I could go on and on. I could go on and on. I mean, those are your head coach quarterback combination, usually the most important. Gibbs Theismann. You know, Madden Stabler. All your great, well-known Super Bowl powers of the past all had great ownership in that head coach QB combination. That's what it takes. Well, that is going to wrap up our NFL season, our NFL show. Congratulations to the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks, who wrap up our season of NFL coverage by winning Super Bowl 60, 29-13 over the New England Patriots. Most valuable player, Kenneth Walker. Congratulations to him. Congratulations to Sam Darnold, who has just completely changed his trajectory. Completely. I mean, I can't say enough good things. I can't say enough good things about him. And, you know, it couldn't happen to a more deserving guy after all he's been through. His path, his journey to the top. It's a true American story. Before I get out of here, I do want to say one thing about the halftime shows. Okay? I don't really know what the NFL is aiming for. The average fan base of the NFL are probably white and black males, 65% male, 35% female, probably from, you know, the ages of 40 to early 60s. That's your average fans. 40 to 64, 65 years old, okay? 40 to 65, average American white and black males. 2/3 of that are male, probably a third female. That's your average fan base. I don't think that is the average Bad Bunny fan, a non-English speaking performer who is, you know, more the favorite of the 21 to 30-year-old crowd. Now, I understand the NFL is trying to be diverse and global, and I got nothing against Bad Bunny. I think if that's what the kids love, great, fine. But I don't understand. I don't understand all the hate involved, why people were so offended by this. So with that being the case, maybe the NFL needs to take a better look at what they're putting out there at halftime. I know Jay-Z's company is in charge of that because he's been hired to do so by the NFL. And of course, you had this other halftime show, you know, the All-American halftime show, and that was just supposed to be for everybody that opposed the non-English speaking Bad Bunny. And of course, everybody that watched this show is presumed to have been a Trumper or a right-wing, you know, activist or a heavy right-wing person. I mean, how do you know they just didn't watch that show because they don't like dance music or a Puerto Rican rapper? Maybe they just don't like that type of music. Because one watched the other doesn't make them a bad person. It means they just didn't prefer that type of music. So they went to watch the other type of music. Now, I personally wasn't interested in either. I didn't want to watch either. If it wasn't for people at my party that asked me to turn the volume up, I wouldn't have even heard Bad Bunny. And I'm fine with the Bad Bunny. If that's what the kids want and you want to try to get, they're trying to attract the kids that don't watch every Sunday. So the Super Bowl's about that. They want to attract the kids that don't watch every Sunday. So they're trying to appeal to a more diverse crowd. That's fine. Fine, I don't care. What I do care about is the nation's reaction to it. Now, I guess you could say, 50% loved it, 50% hated it. But why do you gotta kill people for not liking something or liking something? I've gone on Facebook and I have watched people rip each other to shreds. It's the same thing that we all do when we're discussing politics. Well, not me, because I don't discuss politics. I don't delve into them. My mama and daddy always taught me never talk about politics and never talk about religion. I'm actually surprised I'm even bringing them up now. But because of all the virtual I've seen, the just vicious attacks all over social media about a freaking halftime show. Now, I wasn't a fan of it, but it didn't offend me. I mean, I think I would have liked to seen some music, any type of music, speaking at least a language I understood. But I get it, you're going for the diverse thing, you want to try to appeal to the Latin Americans, and Puerto Rico is a part of the United States. So I get that you want to appeal to their culture, and from what I heard from some of my friends, he did a good job as far as the little nuances of his show. Somebody told me even like the part where the child is sleeping, they told me yes, in a lot of our Latin get-togethers, we always bring the children and they take a nap, and we wake them up for dinner and we tap them just like he did as the little kid in the set that they had set up was sleeping like this, and he tapped him and he woke up. And a lot of my Latin friends did tell me that it was very well done. I really wasn't paying that much attention to it because I am there for the game. That's all I care about. I don't care about the entertainment. I don't. But you know what I do care about? I do care about somebody calling me a racist because I say I don't like Bad Bunny or I wasn't into it. Or anybody that wanted to go watch the other show. They're automatically a MAGA racist. That's bullshit. It's judgmental. I'm sure there's lots of people that watched the All-American Halftime with Kid Rock that didn't even vote for Donald Trump. I'm sure that is the case. There's a lot of people in the nation that didn't vote right or left. They didn't vote at all. Okay? And I'm sure there are some Republicans that enjoyed Bad Bunny. Let's not be judgmental, folks. Let's not judge others. And let's try to be a little kinder to one another. And ripping each other up about a halftime show at a football game is ridiculous. I already see us doing it with all the political shit. I'm going to leave you with this. We need to try to be kinder to one another as a society. Stop judging people for their political beliefs and what they like and what they don't like. It's not your business. It's your own personal business what you like and don't like. And don't judge somebody just because they don't like something. They have their own reasons for that, whichever that may be. You're not inside their head. You don't know. So yeah, we need to be a little kinder to one another. Maybe now with the Olympics starting, we can all get in the spirit of what USA means. United States of America. The key word, united. Let's work on that. And let's work at being kinder to one another and stop ripping each other on social media over anybody with a differing opinion. We need to do better as Americans. With that's the parting wisdom I leave you with tonight. Thanks for the football season. It's been a blast. We got lots more to do. We'll be back Wednesday, 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock for the hockey show. Get you up to date on where the NHL left off and give you all the rosters with all those great NHL players representing their country. USA kicks off Thursday at 3:10 in the afternoon. Gonna get home early from work and make sure I'm rooting on the good old US of A. United States of America. Anyway, tonight's music has been brought to you by Bad Company, and we started off the show with a new band, Senses. Check them out, Senses. Madison Taylor, a very talented female vocalist. Once in a while, we do show you. That's a new good band for young people as well. Guys, have a great night. I'm out.